Why are tribal decks one of the most popular kind of decks to build in Commander? Is it because of how well some of the different creature types work with each other? Or maybe it's just cool to have an army of dragons on your board. There's just one problem whenever it comes to building these kinds of decks. That's not a dragon. Creatures like Tauren Mauler have the keyword Changeling, which means that they are a dragon, but also makes them every creature type. Now during my Secret Tribal video, I had a lot of people ask me for recommendations for how to build around a lot of underused creature types. And there was a handful of people that recommended throwing in Changelings to undersupported creature types like Tribal, just to fill out the deck. And fundamentally, I really dislike using Changelings for these types of decks. For example, let's say that we're building a tribal deck around horses, and we threw in Tauren Mauler. Tauren Mauler instantly becomes a standout in the deck, but if you throw it into a deck around the most popular creature type dragons, it's still one of the most powerful creatures in the deck. Now this is the main problem that I have with Changeling cards. They fit into every creature type too well. Every creature type in red would benefit from having a Tauren Mauler in the deck. There really isn't any deck building involved whenever it comes to throwing them in. And that's the case for a lot of Changelings. They just fit into decks too well. There is fundamentally no reason not to put Tauren Mauler into your horse tribal deck. It's just too powerful and fits into every red creature type. But is that what you're going to go for whenever you're making these types of decks? And now if I was to go to my LGS and sit down and someone said that they wanted to play their elephant tribal deck against me, I would be really excited to see how they built that deck around one of the creature types I don't normally see. But if over time they keep on playing cards like Tauren Mauler, Mirror Entity, and all of these different Changelings, now I'm starting to question if they really built an elephant deck. So now that I've been complaining for a few minutes about Changelings, how do I think they should be used? Firstly, let's go over that not all Changelings are as powerful or easy to throw into decks like Tauren Mauler. Bloodline Protector is sort of a worse version of it that doesn't fit into every creature type. Firstly, it doesn't boost itself up based off what our opponents do, rather we have to boost it up ourselves by casting cards of the creature type that we built the deck around. This means that we have to actually consider how good it matches with our creatures over Tauren Mauler. Having a creature type like elephants that has large casting cost really isn't going to be boosting up Bloodline very well. But if we threw it into our soldier deck that wants to make a bunch of soldier tokens, Bloodline can get boosted quickly. Another way that I like using Changelings is decks that focus on multiple creature types. Ren and Seri and Korvath and Sylvia are two decks that I actually like seeing Changeling in, just because of how they synergize with the deck overall. Playing Tauren Mauler with Ren and Seri will trigger both of the token abilities, making you create a dog and a cat token. And with Sylvia and Korvath, now it will get haste, flying, and double strike. And now it being a Changeling actually works with our deck since it synergizes with both creature types that we're using. And while I do like Changelings in these dual creature type decks, I wouldn't go anywhere over 2 or 3 just to make sure that I keep the deck in line with the actual types that I want to be using. And now, my favorite way to add Changelings to your deck is to fully double down on adding them in. And now, I got this idea from a comment by Greyborg3846 where I saw the most unique way I've ever seen someone use Changelings. And now the idea of your deck is that the main group of creatures that you're using are Changelings, basically a Changeling Tribal deck. And now from there, they have a sideboard full of different Lord type cards, which are just cards that boost up a certain creature type. And then before every game, they shuffle them and take the top 10 cards out of it and throw it into the deck. Not only does this make for one of the most creative decks I've ever seen, but it fixes the problem that I have with Changelings, and gives Changelings their own deck. Not only making every single game unique and fun to see what Lord cards you're going to get, but also is powerful and can hold its ground against other high-power lists. The main problem with Changelings that I have isn't really Changelings themselves, it's more of just how players use them. Like I said, if someone sat down to play against me and they had an elephant deck, but they throw out 4 or 5 Changelings, I'm starting to question what they really built the deck for. And now the main question you should ask yourself when building tribal decks is, do you want to actually build a tribal deck, or do you just want to build a powerful deck? Changelings will definitely boost up the power of your deck, but in the end might take away some of the reason that you built the deck in the first place.